Good morning. Welcome to the Bird's Nest. Please like, comment, and subscribe for your NFL recaps, news, and gossip. And finally, we got a little bit of gossip today. But I will start with the news. I just went out, took a look at my Colorado Buffaloes to see where they landed on the depth chart. As you may or may not know, all four of the Colorado Buffaloes that were drafted, that would be Shador and his receivers, 3 wide receivers, the most drafted from any college football team, let me add, they all made the 53-man roster. We have others that made it to the practice squad, some got cut, like our nephew Shiloh, but all our drafted guys did what needed to be done. So, where they are on the depth chart is, where Shador is. Tragically, he is, whatever's going on with him, he's languishing at 3rd on the depth chart for now. And I believe the minute that they allow him to move from there, he will. So, yes, Shador, the leader of all those wide receivers that were drafted, is 3rd on the depth chart at QB, and that's fine. We'll take that for now. You know how it is. I think they're making him pay some price for being Shador, which will be mentioned in the gossip portion of today's video. So then let's move on down to Travis Hunter. Travis, of course, is a starting wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he is a 2nd string cornerback for the Jaguars. So we'll see how much play he gets on both sides of the ball. If it's up to Travis, he will play every snap, but this is not college. This is the NFL. And it's going to be a heavier workout for him in the NFL than it was in college. And he doesn't have Shador throwing to him. That's going to make a difference too. Because Shador targeted him a lot. He didn't have to do that. Shador had other options at wide receiver, but he wanted Travis to get that Heisman, so he targeted him a lot. We don't know if that's going to happen in Jacksonville. It may. They are a team that's rebuilding, and I don't know what their options are at wide receiver. I'm unfamiliar with them. So he may get a whole bunch of targets, and they can target him because he's going to catch that ball. Then we will move on to my Jimmy Horn Jr. Bleezy. Jimmy is 2nd string for the Carolina Panthers. I was so happy when I saw that. I will say, I don't know what's going on with their depth chart. They didn't have... They're shallow in the wide receiver department. Let's put it that way. They are not deep in the wide receiver department like, let's say the Browns are. I don't know how good the Browns wide receivers are, but they got, 1st, 2nd, 3rd string wide receivers. Panthers don't really have 3rd string wide receivers. So, Jimmy made it. He is 2nd string, so that's awesome. That makes me think that he's going to get played this year. I know that they love him. I'm here in Carolina, and he gets lots of publicity in Charlotte. So I expect to see him play, and I hope he balls out. And this was out, he didn't get a lot of targets in the preseason, so he didn't really get the ball out in the preseason, but he still made the 53-man roster, and he's still second string. So, I'm very happy about that. Now, oddly, I know LeJohntay balled out in his first game. He didn't ball out in his second game or third game. I think he struggled in his third game. So, and he's on a more established team, a more well-oiled team, a team that was fine without him, unlike the Panthers, unlike the Browns. And so, LeJohntay is fourth string at wide receiver and fourth string at special teams, punt returns. I was surprised to see that. I thought he could have at least earned second string on special teams, but again, he's on a well-oiled team that could go to the Super Bowl any day now, and they could have gone for the past 3 years. So I guess that's to be expected. At least he'll see more playoff action. He'll see it. He may not be in it, but he'll see it. Than all the other guys. All of them. Unless the Browns unleash Shador. They gotta unleash him. And let me give an honorable mention. So, in addition to Shador coaching up the Colorado Buffalo wide receivers and making them look like superstars and got them all drafted and on the 53-man roster, he also coached up Gage Larvadain. Sometimes I say his name wrong. Lavardian. It's Larvadain. Gage Larvadain. Shador coached him up on vacation. And guess what? While Shador languishes as the third string quarterback, Gage is second string wide receiver. And go Gage. Go Gage. They're going to stop sleeping on Shador, y'all. And when they do, the NFL is going to be an exciting place. It really is. It's going to be special. I can't wait. Which takes me to the gossip portion of today's video. Now, I told y'all, Tom Brady is an op. He's not Shador's mentor. He's not Shador's friend. He's not Deion's friend. He's a business acquaintance who somehow had access to throw balls with Shador. He may have been coming there to talk to Shador because he signed Shador to an NIL deal way back when in his Jackson State days. Maybe he came over and chit-chat with them, and so they threw some footballs, and Bucky got it on camera. He's not Shador's mentor. He's not even Shador's friend. And Shador is not his kind of guy. I'm not going to go so far as to say he doesn't like Shador. I have no evidence of that. But Shador is not his cup of tea. I have evidence of that. Because Prime, I know you legendary football players respect one another, and I understand that. That doesn't mean that they are people that you want to expose to your children. So, Deion's thinking of Tom as a friend for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe I don't know why, but he's thinking of Tom as a friend. So he calls Tom, and they video it because he's trying to tell Tom to tell Shador not to buy another car, inviting Tom to hate on Shador and judge Shador. He thinking it's all fun and games, but no. Tom making a mental note of that. And he's judging your son, and you exposed Shador to that. Because Tom's a legend. That doesn't mean Tom likes your son. So no, Tom is not Shador's mentor, friend, nothing. They were business acquaintances. So when the league decided that Shador needed to be taught a lesson, Tom went along with it. And he did not make Shador aware that it was happening. He did not call Shador and say, Shador, I know you think what you're doing is right in this draft process, but it's not. I'm hearing rumblings, Shador. You're rubbing people the wrong way. Let me tell you how to handle this. He didn't do none of that because he's not his friend and he's not his mentor, because he would have mentored him and he didn't. Okay? He's an op. He does not like Shador's ways. So he doesn't like the fact that Shador buys 1 million cars. I don't know how many cars he has, but more than Tom wants him to have. And he said yesterday, might have been yesterday, might have been the day before, came out yesterday. You know, buddy, you got to get out of the way. Get out of the way. He said yesterday that he doesn't care for the celebrations. You know, when the guys make the touchdowns and they have their celebrations. And nowadays they also come up with handshakes, individual handshakes that they do for each person. You know, these kids, these bag-on kids. It's a generational gap. That's all it is. It's a generational gap. And as always, old people think their way is better than young people's way. Why'd you do that? I just marvel at people when they drive weird. But Tom thinks his way is the way. So Tom said, and Tom has right to his opinion, he doesn't like the celebrations. He'd rather you celebrate with your teammates. What does you celebrating your touchdown have to do with celebrating with your teammates? It takes, even when Shador did it in slow motion so Knight could get their shot, it took him 5 seconds to do that. And then he ran down the field to his receiver that had caught the ball and bigged him up. So one thing has nothing to do with the other. So Tom and he had the nerve to say celebrating with your teammates is more intimidating. Intimidating? Where'd you get that word from? What's intimidating about a celebration or celebrating by yourself or celebrating with your team? You saying it's all about yourself. Guess what, Tom? It needs to be about himself. These children have a brand when they come into the league. Well, the lucky ones, like Shador and Arch, who's luckiest of all because he's got a brand and he can't even play yet. He can't play. I'm just saying it. I'm going to stop being tiptoeing around Arch. He can't play. That's why he is a junior who's just starting. And he's not good. Anyway, but he's got endorsements. So he can have that. And maybe Shador could have had it too, but it couldn't have hurt. It doesn't hurt that he was balling out. So, Tom, he doesn't have to understand. He can view it his way. He can be conservative and feel like football players shouldn't celebrate by themselves, that they shouldn't big up themselves, that they shouldn't be overly invested in their brand, like their brand shouldn't be important to them. He can think that all he wants. Absolutely. That is what one might expect someone from your generation to think. Shador's generation has NIL deals, which you gave him an NIL deal for your failed athletic apparel company. Out there getting the Shadors of the world when you should have got somebody cheaper. It didn't work anyway. They have a brand. They have social media influence. They make a lot of money from that, Tom. That's not chump change. You see what you did to the boy. You took all his football money, so he needs all the money he can get from his endorsements. You don't have to understand that. You're allowed to your opinion. You have the right to it, just like everybody else. As long as you don't oppress with your opinion, like y'all did to Shador. You oppressed him because you think he's too flashy. That's the problem. Tom the op. I've been telling y'all that boy op ever since the draft. That's when I knew. That's when I knew. Because you didn't give that boy a heads up on anything. You're not a mentor. They need to stop calling him that. You're an op. And you don't like Shador. Or you don't like the way he is. You don't like his flashiness. Because Shador's a sweetheart. He is very, very confident. But he's also a sweetheart. So those people that are lucky enough to be around him a lot, that he's comfortable with, they get to see, they get to peel away the layers. So they're not always seeing the bravado that he absolutely possesses as the son of Deion Sanders. As a competitor, he's super competitive. He's more charismatic than I gave him credit for too. I've been getting caught up with some of his YouTube videos, but it's when he's around people that he's comfortable with. He's not comfortable. Well, he's comfortable with the Browns players. He's way more comfortable with the rookies. But I don't know how comfortable he is with Stefanski. And I bet you he's not comfortable with Jimmy Haslam either. Anyway. So, that's what Tom thinks. And he said it out loud. Which is a slight to every player that celebrates. Cam celebrates, but he was allowed to be drafted. But Cam is conservative in other ways. More laid back than Shador. Shador is more bright lights, big city, in your face. Is something that he exudes from his pores, really. That's just bigger. And they don't like it. Tom doesn't like it. The old fuddy-duddy owners don't like it because of the generation gap. Meanwhile, the young people love it. And old heads like me. There's a word for me. I did this presentation at work on generational differences. There's a word for who I am. I gotta remember it. I need to look at my presentation. Oh no, I done left that company. I ain't even there no more. I don't have the presentation. I gotta find out what it is. But there's a word for people like me who we're like cross-generational. I like old stuff. I'm old. I like old stuff. But I like new stuff too. I'm a first generation hip hop head. I like old hip hop, but I like new hip hop too. I like old R&B, but I like new R&B too. I'm a sneakerhead. My collection is off the chain, but I'm an old lady. So, there are people like me that can appreciate all the generations and can even understand Tom's old-fashioned point of view. But then there's people like Tom. There's a lot of people, most older people, think that their way is better than young people's way. That's all it is. Shador doesn't need to take that advice from Tom and stop doing the celebration. I used to hate that celebration. I could look. But now I got a watch because of it. I just bought this watch just for Shador. I hated it. I was like, Neff, that is so corny. What does that mean? He never explained what it means that I'm aware of. So I didn't know what it meant. It looked like you just flossing your watch. But that's not what it means. Shador is all about perfect timing. Timing. That's all important to him when it comes to hitting those wide receivers with those catchable balls that they say got a weak arm, but for some reason he gets that ball to him. Pinpoint accuracy. In traffic. Tight windows. So that's what it's about. That's why he puts it up after he throws that touchdown pass. Because of that perfect timing. Less corny. I like it now. I didn't like it at first time. My old fashioned came out at first. Like, Neff, that's corny. Because I didn't get it. Sometimes it takes me a second to understand these useful things. So, later for time to opt. But he's entitled to his opinion. But he should not use his opinion to oppress. And I'm very disappointed that Tom is a company man instead of representing the players. He done got so big for his britches that he's with the executives and he could care less about the players unless they act the way he dictates they should. Not cool, Tom. You're an op. That's my gossip for the day. We'll see if anything else happens. But right now, hey, we're getting ready for the season. I'll be watching the Browns. I'll be watching them to see how the quarterbacks are doing, and how long we got to wait for Shador to get out there. But then I'll be also doing my other recaps. So good luck to you guys. Have a good week. I hope you had a good Labor Day off. And I'll talk to you next time. If something comes up, I'll come up. Y'all have a good day. Please, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Mwah.